The Backyard Gardening Project, Episode 7, Cool Season Planting. Brought to you by The Garden Father and Don's Garden Shop. Located on East Platte Avenue in Colorado Springs, offering you soil mixes, mulches, rock, stone, statuary, fountains, and more. So come along for the journey. This is the Backyard Garden Project. The soil is ready for planting, but one final thing, we must moisten before we plant. Okay, we have Mike here, nicknamed Weed Hopper. Okay, Weed Hopper, show us how to put this in the ground. Okay. Notice he's setting that plant in, tucking it in, piling soil around it so that it's covered right up to where it's normally been planted. And then he's going to make a little moat around it to catch water, and that plant is ready to go. Mike right here is assembling a little cover, a cloche as it's called, which is made out of a 1-gallon milk container with the bottom cut off, and there's a hole in the side for ventilation, and he's going to push that down into the soil, and those pins are going to hold it tight. This gives a little added protection this time of year because the weather is so finicky. One day it's warm and hot, the next day it drops down and gets a lot cooler. And that should keep those lettuce plants nice and toasty. And in another week or two he'll remove those, and then the lettuce will be on its own. Good job, Mike.
Thanks.
Or should I say Weed Hopper?
Thank you. We have our helper watching over.
All right, since Colleen couldn't make it today, Mike decided to at least have her here in spirit to watch over the planting. She will be here for our next episode, so stay tuned. Okay, Mike is ready to plant a few onions here, and he's going to moisten the trench where we're going to plant the onions. And I have a little saying, never plant in a dry hole. So he's getting that nice and moist to plant the onions, and next step will be the planting. All right, Mike is going to plant some onions here. These are candy sweet onions, midday onions, and that means that the bulb will mature in mid-latitudes, and that's where Colorado Springs is, in the mid-latitudes. So he's making sure they're spacing according to how he wants them. And now he's going to be digging a little hole just with his fingers, poking it down, planting these just 1 inch deep. Let's take a look at the next one here. In another month and a half, Mike will be cutting up this onion and probably having it on a nice burger from the grill.
That sounds good.
Unless he's a vegetarian, then he'll have a veggie burger.
No, thank you.
Okay, today we're also going to be planting some Sugar Daddy snap peas. These don't grow quite as tall as the super sugar snaps, but what I did is 2 days before, I soaked these seeds, drained them, and let them go. Can you see in there? They're starting to sprout. We're going to gently plant those in the soil, and that'll give them a head start this year so that they can get up and growing in this cool weather, which they do like. Well, we're setting up the pea trellis for our Sugar Daddy snap peas. And again, remember, never plant in a dry hole. So Mike made some trenches along the trellis, and then we're going to be gently setting in our pre-sprouted pea seeds. Now this is a thing I've been doing for years, and believe me, I love the results. Earlier peas and better germination rates. Mike is now gently placing those pre-sprouted pea seeds into the pre-moistened trench. This may take some time, but it's well worth it. Now, peas are one of the few crops that you can actually plant and overcrowd a bit. They like that because they tend to wind around each other and prevent them from getting blown around by the wind before and during when they're attached to the trellis. Okay, now after Mike has planted the pea seeds, placed them in that trench, he's now gently covering them over, not packing down the soil too tight because he doesn't want to damage those newly sprouted roots that are coming out of the pea seeds. Hopefully this will give him an early jump on germination, and he should be eating peas a little earlier than if he planted them in a more traditional way. Our next step is planting some carrots, and Mike is making a slight depression in the soil here just so that when we water the carrots they don't float out. So you'll see how we do this. Mike is planting the carrot seeds, and he's carefully spacing them at the beginning, planting them about 1 inch apart and on 1 inch centers. That's so that, in about a month, he'll harvest every other carrot as a small baby carrot, and the other ones will be left to mature. Now notice the care he's taking. Good job, Mike.
Thanks.
You're welcome. When he gets done, he's going to gently cover them with a thin layer of soil, and then we're going to top it off with some moist burlap to ensure early germination.
Sorry Colleen couldn't be here in person to help plant, but at least she's here keeping a close eye on me in spirit.
All right, Mike has finished planting the carrot seeds. Now he's lightly dusting them with some soil from another part of the garden here just to cover them up with about 1/4 of an inch of soil. That's about it. And when he gets done, he's going to gently tap it to pack it down just ever so slightly.
Does that look good, Colleen? Good. Looks like she approves, Larry.
She does, huh, Mike?
I think so. It's the first time for everything.
All right, after we finished planting the seeds and putting about 1/4 inch of soil on top, we now cover them with moist burlap. This will prevent the seeds from washing out. It'll also keep the soil underneath a little more moist because carrots take about 2 weeks to germinate, so we want to make sure that the soil stays moist. To secure the burlap from blowing away, Mike is securing them with landscape pins, using 3 per side, and that should do it. Now what he's going to do is in about 5 days, and then every day thereafter, he's going to peek underneath the burlap, and as soon as he sees the seeds germinate, he is going to remove the burlap. But again, like I said, carrots take between 7 and 14 days to germinate. Most likely these won't germinate for another 2 weeks. Mike is planting some spinach now, and this variety is Renegade, and we have found that in this climate here in Colorado Springs, it is one of the hardiest, best tasting spinaches that we've been able to find. Mike is going to be planting this throughout the summer, and we're going to show you how you can have fresh, delicious spinach if you have good soil and you plant the right variety. Well, Mike, we'll see you in next week where we'll do a little more planting, and thank you, and thanks, Colleen, for helping out today.
Yeah, maybe next week she'll be here in person. So,
All right.
yeah. Say goodbye, Colleen.
Goodbye.